Hi, and welcome. My name is Katy Kao. I'm a professor of chemical engineering at San José State University. I have been serving as the student section of F.SWE at San José State since 2021. And last year, I had the honor of being one of the recipients of the 2024 F.SWE Distinguished Engineering Educator Award. And today I will be speaking with the three incredible recipients of the 2025 F.SWE Distinguished Engineering Educator Award, Dr. Marca Lam, Dr. Tsu-Jae Liu, and Dr. Ann Lucietto. This is one of F.SWE's apex awards. It's one of the highest honors that F.SWE offers. And this particular award honors individuals with 20 plus years of professional experience. So let me introduce our speakers today. First off, we have Dr. Marca Lam. She is a principal lecturer and undergraduate program director for mechanical engineering at the Rochester Institute of Technology in the Kate Gleason College of Engineering. Welcome.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Tsu-Jae Liu. She is the president of the National Academy of Engineering. She was also the former dean of the College of Engineering at University of California at Berkeley. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And we have Dr. Ann Lucietto. She is an associate professor in the School of Engineering Technology at Purdue University. Welcome.
Thank you.
Each of our three awardees received this recognition for demonstrating the highest standards as educators and contributing in their own unique way towards encouraging and inspiring the next generation of women STEM professionals. And congratulations all on this award. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about you and your work in engineering education.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will now be asking each of you questions, specific questions. So I will start with you. So Dr. Marca Lam, is it okay if I call you Marca?
Yes, that'll be fine.
So Marca, from your career, which spanned 3 decades, what is one area or one aspect of engineering education that you're most excited about, and one that and also one that you think, in your opinion, requires maybe some improvement?
What I'm most excited about is just always working with the next generation, trying to inspire them and get them through their education, especially as undergraduate program director. I work a lot with the students who struggle. And so it's been very rewarding when I've been able to help guide them to ultimately successfully complete their education. The one thing that I do struggle with a little bit myself is that as I have gotten older, there's a lot of changes in the world, both technologically, but also with what students need to know in order to function today as engineers. So it's hard for the older faculty to sometimes realize that what we had to know is not necessarily what the current generation needs to know. The example I use from my day is I was the generation that was given a calculator, so I didn't use slide rules. And people of my dad's generation thought that my generation was going to be, horrible because we didn't have an inherent understanding of numbers. We just put it in a calculator. Well, your phone now is a computer, so there's so much more information out there. How do we teach the new generation to still be critical thinkers and to understand everything, but having access to so much more than what, I did as a student?
That is so very true. I think all of us can relate to that. And thank you for that insight. So next, I'll move on to Dr. Liu. Dr. Liu, is it okay if I refer to you just by Tsu-Jae?
Yes.
Great. So Tsu-Jae, as one of the few women deans today, what advice would you give someone who aspires to become dean one day?
That's a really good question because people should plan in advance. And so, first of all, I'd like to point out that today there are actually many women deans of engineering across the United States. They represent more than 20% of all engineering deans, which is appropriate, I think, because the percentage of women who are graduating now from engineering programs exceeds 20%, and the average number of women faculty in engineering schools and colleges is over 20%. So first of all, if you'd like to think about possibly serving as a dean someday, you first should know what deans are responsible for. So in my view, a dean is responsible for the success and the welfare of the faculty and the students and the staff in their college. They're also responsible for the academic programs and administrative operations of their college or school. They also support critical activities like faculty hiring, student admissions, development of new curricular materials or co-curricular programs, and also they generally renovate space or build new spaces to meet evolving needs of the faculty and staff and students. So a strong candidate for dean ideally should have successful experiences with every single aspect that I mentioned. So experience leading faculty, could be as a department chair or as an associate dean, effectively working with staff to get things done, supporting student learning and well-being, and also participating in faculty hiring and development of new programs and so on and so forth. So associate dean is one way to gain that experience as well as department chair, but also if you have led academic senate at your university, that also gives you good experience. So I think the key is to know what the job entails and then to make sure you gain experience relevant to every aspect of that job to which you aspire.
Thank you. It's where do you find time to sleep? It's a huge
Well,
responsibility.
yeah, deans do have a team to work with, so that's wonderful. So it is important to learn to work effectively with staff, like assistant deans, but also with fellow faculty who are your associate deans. So yeah, it's a team effort for sure.
Thank you. Um, all right, so now move on to Dr. Lucietto. Dr. Lucietto, is it okay if I refer to you by as Anne?
Well, sure.
All right, Anne. So how much has mentoring in the engineering world changed over the years? And do you have any advice for mentors or mentees that you like to share?
It has changed a lot over the years. When I started out, we really didn't have any formal mentoring of any sort. You usually had to find someone who was amenable to having you in the workspace, who had the background that you needed, and then you had to pick their brain. Things were not, it was very different in those days, and it's been a few decades. Um, Over the years, though, I've noticed as things have evolved that a lot of, just a lot of the environment that we're in and has changed. It's become more friendly towards women. And I was able to find far more mentors, for myself. Even today, I have mentors. But most of them are just very friendly, willing to share, and I don't think they even really care what gender you are, which is kind of nice to see, given how we started out. I do a lot of mentoring myself, and I'll be honest, I just don't have any qualms about mentoring whomever comes and asks. If I see somebody needs it, I'm very cautious because I don't want to have a negative any kind of negative response, where I'm trying to tell them what to do. But often I've had a lot of really good experiences just mentoring students of all kinds. In our institution, we have undergrads and masters and Ph.D. students. And so I've had my share of all of them that I work with. And I've even had students refer other students to me. So it's kind of a change, from back in the day when I had to find that person that was willing to talk to me and help me. And then, to what I'm doing today and working with the students and then actually helping them out as they if they're working problems or if they run into, I had a couple of different scenarios. I had parents that were pushing students, and I had to help the student understand that they needed to work with their parents. And those were things that were very important. And I've gone as far as having parents want to talk to me, and then we have to sign all the appropriate documents, and I'll talk to the parents. So, I mean, there's just been a lot of it's just give and take throughout the whole academic world. But again, that goes back to the beginning. And I didn't spend my entire time in academia. I spent the first 20 to 30 years, 25 to 30 years in industry. So my experiences are a little bit different than being in academia the entire time. When I made the switch, obviously there was just more encouragement of others to help everyone out. But again, I was moving myself into more of an educational environment, and that's sort of put a little bit of a different twist on it because that's what we're there to do, to mentor and help out and educate.
That's great. Thank you. So now we'll move on to kind of a fun rapid fire Q&A. And during this rapid fire session, all of you will have an opportunity to give kind of a quick answer. So the first question is, so you've each won several awards and recognitions for your professional achievements. Which one holds kind of a special place in your office? So, Anne, I would start with you.
Well, I was just thinking about what's in my office. I've got all kinds of things there. When I get fellow in an organization, that kind of proves that I've got a technical achievement. I was looking and I realized it's time to do some more. So I'll be working on that. But the other, whenever I'm awarded a teaching or some sort of mentoring award, I've always found that very satisfactory because that's something saying that someone's recognized what I've done for them or for a group of people. And I think those are the things that really stand out to me.
Thank you. Tsu-Jae, what about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way as Anne. I'm most gratified by the a distinguished faculty mentoring award that I received a number of years ago because it was actually all due to my own students or former students whom I mentored, who nominated me and got the references. So it's a student-led initiative rather than some, administrative leader or somebody from outside the university. So it's just especially meaningful when people you've mentored really recognize and appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. Marca?
Yeah, so while I second those notions absolutely, what it's not even most proud of, but the thing that I gravitate towards in my office are the thank you notes. Somebody years ago told me for those rough days, just have a wall of thank you notes that you can go to and look at to remember that what you're trying to do, although painful for some students in the moment, can have really gratifying results. So that's actually the thing I'm most proud of in my office, although my SWE award is sitting in a central location right now.
Thank you all for sharing that. But I see that the common theme seems to be, you're most proud of the impacts, right, that you made on the students' lives rather than, recognition from the top.
Yes.
Which is great. So the next question is, who is your role model, source of inspiration, or woman engineer that, whose work that you followed closely? So I'll start with you, Anne, again.
That one's tough. I've had a lot of people through the years, but I'd have to say starting out, it would be my parents. They when I was growing up, I remember people saying to my dad, "Why would you support a girl?" And my dad's like, "I'm gonna do what I want to do." And they're like, "Why do you want to waste your money?" And he was always behind us and mom was right there with him. And then just moving into different thing, I mean, you grow up, you have teachers that you find are helpful. I have one in the fourth grade. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I wasn't having to do anything that, I wasn't going to be quiet. I wasn't going to be laid back. I wasn't going to do anything. And she figured out how to harness me and she changed me. My grades changed, my focus changed. I was driven, get out of my way. And it was because of that one teacher. Um, and then through the years, I had different faculty members that I got to know, and they were always super supportive. And then it's funny because when I went to work, this guy from construction came out and started working with me and showing me the ropes, and he was 11 years older than me. Well, 2 years later, I married him. So he's always been a great role model. Um, After that, just different workplaces, just different jobs. I had one guy, I was 11 years into a position in my first company, and I asked him, they had a huge layoff, and I wasn't included. And I said to him, "What do you think?" And he goes, "If you want to get out and you want to do something," he goes, "you've got the background, the knowledge, the skills, go for it." And I did, and I stayed in contact with him till he passed away. But those are the th kinds of people that you meet at different junctures of your life that make that difference. So I can't say that I had one mentor or one person. I mean, my dad and mom always, but I just didn't have, one. It's just kept going. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
CJ?
guess I'll just echo what Anne said, and also add, our students are a source of inspiration for us, right? So even today, I think they keep us young at heart and keep us always eager to learn and discover new things and to innovate new solutions that will benefit people in society.
Marca?
Yeah, so I think, we're all of the generation where we were maybe the only female student in the class, if not the program, depending on where you were. For me too, it was my dad was an engineer and he always let me tinker along with him. And I have a younger brother, but there was never any difference in our ability to be able to do engineering or anything else that we set our minds to. And my mother stood right next to him saying, "And you will get an education, and you will get an education," because she didn't get one herself because she was pregnant with me. She was married. And so I think she always felt that that was something extremely important. I took that and ran with it all the way to the PhD. So, but then I think for me, I part of why I think we're not coming up with a lot of women as role models is because we weren't aware of a lot of women as role models. And then for me, what was actually not a turning point, but somebody who supported me. Well, first of all, my PhD advisor was phenomenal. It was a man, but Dr. Inman, Dan Inman, and he made his lab such a inclusive environment in those days. And he was tickled pink that I stuck all the way through. And so technically, I'm his first PhD graduate, although he had tried a few before me. But then I worked at Cooper Union, and Eleanor Baum, Dr. Baum, was the first female engineer of a College of Engineering, and that was at Cooper. And I had my first child there, actually both my children there while I was working there. And she said, "You will work until you can't work anymore because you need to show all those women in your classes that you can be a professional and you can have children and you can make it work and balance." And so it sounds horrible to the outside. I never took maternity leave because she worked with me to make it work so that I didn't disappear for a whole semester. I just worked until I couldn't. And then I came back at the beginning of next semester, which happened to be about 2 to 3 months later, and it worked out perfectly. And so she was also very good about work-life balance, that you can say no. That is a word that exists because I think for a lot of women, the word no doesn't exist. And so I did take that to heart and have always tried very hard to have a good work-life balance.
It's really wonderful to hear. Thank you all for sharing that. All right, I'll move on to the next question. This is always a fun one. What is one piece of advice you would give to your younger self? Anne?
I've thought about that a number of times, and every time I come up with a different answer. Um, I think I was very impatient when I was younger. like decades ago, and my patience has thoroughly increased. I would have never imagined that I would be patient with students, my handicapped husband, my daughter, just start going through the list, right? And I think it would be just be patient with yourself.
Great advice. Tsu-Jae?
Well, when I was younger, I was very shy, very introverted. So my advice to my younger self would be to proactively build a network of peers, mentors, advocates, beginning while you're still a student. You can do so by engaging in and contributing to activities inside and outside of the classroom, and also within the school and in professional communities.
Great. Marca?
Yeah, so for myself, I'm actually very tall. So I'm well over 6 feet. So I come across as always having been extremely confident because part of it is my parents beat into me that you walk up straight. And so, I naturally, that's what tall people have. It's naturally that people think that you're very confident. And I wasn't always confident. And I wish I had internalized some of my posture and not second guess so many things and thought that it was my fault or that I could have done something better when it was just a set of circumstances and it was what it was, and that's okay. So I got there eventually, but it took me a little bit of time.
I'm sure a lot of the audience who will be listening to this can relate to all of your advice. All right. The last question is, so I know, SWE has been helpful to you in your engineering journey. But what are some other, resources that you would recommend for students, educators, and other engineering professionals that you think would be helpful for them? Anne?
That's so easy, it's not even funny. All of the job changes I've ever made, with the exception of my current one, came from SWE. And I think using the resources, the networking, the ability to post your resume, any of the other webinars and things like that that are present now that we didn't have when I first started this journey back many years ago. But that networking is, I think, the most valuable thing. People will talk the talk, but they won't walk the walk. And you got to get to know people. You need to talk to them. You need to go to meetings. If you're shy, talk to the person next to you. You don't have to make a huge presentation. Those are really important things. And I think that's really probably the crux of my journey and the things that helped me out tremendously, because I'll give you a quick example. I literally sat back. We had a event that a bunch of the SWE members from our section were busy helping with, and we took lunch. And we were sitting there, and I was having a miserable time where I was working, just miserable. And I needed to get out. And I told the people at the table, and they asked what was happening. And boy, it felt good to tell them. And I knew all of them, and I was comfortable with them. The next day, one of them called me and said, "We have an opening where I work. Let's go." And less than a month later, I was working at that location. So, um, you know, I can't stress how much that networking and just camaraderie amongst our members. I had a couple of situations where I've needed something, and I'm able to make a couple phone calls and I have it. So I think that's really the key.
Great. Tsu-Jae?
Yeah, SWE and also other professional societies. Each engineering discipline has its own society. For me, in electrical engineering, I have the IEEE, which is actually now the world's largest professional society with over 500,000 members. But they offer, conferences, local symposia, and like short courses, tutorials, and of course, networking opportunities. So that's a good way uh, to learn, but also, yeah, develop your network so you learn about job opportunities. And if people don't know that you're looking for a job, then they won't be able to like mention it to you as quickly once they become aware of a job opportunity. When I was dean at Berkeley Engineering, we also established a resource, which is, of course, it's on online, and so it's open to the public. Anybody can go visit. But it was a collection at the engineering library So if you search online and look for the Inclusive Excellence Collection at the Engineering Library, you'll see, maybe you need to add Berkeley, you'll see a list of books that we recommend or have collected, just books to help people from a great diversity of backgrounds, or for educators who want to help students from a diversity of backgrounds to succeed. So that's also a resource that's available, just a collection pointer to various books that have been published that really help illuminate challenges for helping students succeed from all backgrounds.
Thank you. I made a note for myself to look that up. Marca.
So I did not get involved with SWE until I was asked to become the faculty advisor here when I moved to our Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT, because when I was a student, I didn't want to be different. And I felt if I was part of SWE, that's actually one of the things I want to tell my younger self. That's dumb. SWE would have given me a community that would have been very helpful. So yeah, maybe I should go back and change my other answer. But moving to present day, what I love about SWE is I go to conference with anywhere from 10 to I've had as many as 24, 26 students from our institution. And it's not just from the College of Engineering, it's from different programs. And when we go to conference, I'm there, like I'm involved in terms of I am a resource because it can get overwhelming with the size of it. And so I walk around with my orange shirt on every single day. I have so many orange shirts because I go every year and we get a new shirt. And so everybody knows, everybody that's ever gone to RIT knows to look for me in my orange shirt. And that's how I connect with alumni who then help give advice to new students. And it's that synergistic, constantly evolving network of people that are there to help each other and to support each other. I mean, I never would have thought to put myself in for this award, especially not as a lecturer, because there are so many people who look down upon a person who has a PhD but isn't a research faculty. I made my career on teaching. And I had several people from who are actually involved in SWE at a pretty high level just sit me down and say, we're going to nominate you and you're going to do this because you deserve it. And, thankfully I got the award, and shout out to Kristen Zatwarnicki because she's the one who said, I'm going to nominate you. And so that kind of thing, I'm really trying to feed forward again into SWE and because there's just such an amazing support system, and pretty much everything Anne said is true. It's the mentorship. I see the same people year after year, and it's awesome.
Community.
Yep.
Mhm.
Amazing community. So congratulations again
Thank
to
you.
all three of you, Marca and Tsu-Jae, on receiving the 2025 SWE Distinguished Engineering Educator Award. And thank you so much for sharing kind of your insights and your experiences with us. For anyone who's listening and who wants to learn more about these women and SWE's full list of Apex Award recipients, you can read their profiles in the 2025 conference issue of SWE magazine. It's available online at swe.org/SWE-magazine. We also encourage you to visit the We25 Awards Hall at the we25awards.swe.org, where you can leave this year's award recipients a note of congratulations. Or if you benefited from their advice, their mentoring, a thank you note. So again, I'm Katy Kao, and thank you for being with us today.